Hello, American people. This is Ted Shelton again. I'm doing my 5th video. And I'd like to say thank you for all you guys who are watching. I appreciate it. Just want to say thank you very much. God bless America. My name is Ted Shelton. And I have a YouTube channel if you want to see it. But it's all right. I would like to say something about Biden. I don't mean to be mean to Biden. He is like a grandpa. I don't mind. He's nice and sweet. But I don't think he should be running the country right now, okay? Do you? Come on. I mean, not another 4 years. Okay, now Donald Trump's cool for a moment. All right, let's get him in right now for 4 years and then get him out and then find a younger dude. Is that wrong? Hey, I'm not saying I'm against Donald Trump or anybody or even Biden. I'm just saying Biden's a little too old. That's all. Donald Trump is sharp. Sharp as a fox. You know how he is. Anyway, all this crazy shit about him, just making him more popular. Okay? There's no doubt about it. But I have a YouTube channel if you want to find me on Ted Shelton. This is my 5th one. So anyway, I'm not bashing nobody, okay? I just want to say what I feel in my neighbors and my family. Okay, Biden was cool for a moment, but Donald Trump, we need him right now to stabilize the world. Because the world's going to get crazy in a minute. Okay, so we got what? 7 more months? No, well, actually, a whole year, really. So, let me tell you what's going on with the news, okay? The news will tell you itself. Okay, they're going against Biden, not to hate him, but he's not mentally there. Okay, here we go. I'm going to let you guys find out yourself. My name is Ted Shelton. Here we go. Let's play the game.
On primary ballots, avalanche of bad news hitting President Biden as the 2024 election approaches. Top Democratic donors call the trend a, quote, a siren and a clarion call, adding the energy behind uncommitted is not something that should be ignored.
This is going to be an unusual election.
48% of voters think it is either very or somewhat likely that Biden will be replaced as the Democratic nominee on the presidential ballot in November.
On Friday, the third-party group ended months of speculation about whether it would field a unity ticket for the presidential race. The news came the day after President Biden's State of the Union address.
Will you commit to a debate with former President Trump? It depends on his behavior.
Do you regret using the word illegal to describe immigrants last night, sir?
Well, probably. I don't regret it.
Avalanche of bad news hitting President Biden as the 2024 election approaches. In a potential rematch, former President Trump holds a 2-point advantage over Biden.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except for?
He's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm gonna be,
That's a lot of cereal.
up this guy. He says, you're not gonna be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
Who's going to make this better for us? Because we're not voting for a husband or a boyfriend or even a best friend. We're voting for a leader who's going to shift this dynamic.
What issue would the Biden administration, the Biden campaign move to try to win? We've talked about abortion. There now seem to be rallying around this save democracy, Republicans represent Russia narrative. It's like, can they find the message or do they replace Joe Biden?
I think that there was probably a discussion heading into it. And the reality is the Democratic Party has always had one obstacle stopping them from sidelining Joe Biden. That's what I call the Kamala Harris problem. They've tethered their identity to identity politics. Yet if they don't make her the nominee, it makes them very difficult to sideline Biden. Which is what leads me to, I think, the likely conclusion that it is going to be someone like Michelle Obama who they do put up. So I think there are serious discussions likely underway. Pretty soon those are going to spill over into the public sphere. And I wouldn't have been shocked if that happened tonight, but I think the greater likelihood, Trace, is that they wait another couple of months and let this play out.
Look, I'm not a young guy. That's no secret.
Can we do one more take?
Look, I'm very young, energetic, and handsome. What the hell am I doing this for?
A new poll.
Biden should not run, and Harris would be worse for the country. So who's next in line?
Mr. Biden is not the Democratic nominee.
Joe Biden will not be the nominee.
Joe Biden will not be the Democratic Party nominee. Whoa. You're on record. On record. People feel it's not up to the job anymore, certainly not for the next 4 years. They cannot have him running in November, but they know they cannot go with this guy in this kind of condition.
Mr. Biden is a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory, Special Counsel Robert Hur wrote in a 388-page report.
President Biden, something the Special Counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. How bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad I can let you speak. That's judgment.
Mr. President, for months when you were asked about your age, you would respond with the words, "Watch me." Many American people have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment.
After that scathing special counsel report about the president's mental fitness, his fiery defensive emergency press conference seems to have dug him a bigger hole, and the White House counsel was sent out the next day trying to clean it all up. What does it say?
Okay, now you saw all that. So what do you think about that? Okay, I don't mean to disrespect him, but if the news going after him, that means a lot of people are watching, right? Okay, so I'm trying not to be mean, because I did vote for Biden, but I did vote for Donald Trump in my heart. But, you know, I was told to vote for Biden because I'm a Democrat. My mom voted for Democrat. My grandma, my father, you know what, we're all blinded to Democrat. But they never did anything for us. Okay, check it out. Go to the Bronx. Take that block that's all tore up, where all the crack dealers are, wipe it all out, and put a Liberty Mall. Oprah should do that. Put a mall and put all black businesses in there. Some whites and Chinese too. Don't discriminate, because they tell us don't discriminate. So, isn't that a great idea? Take that money that you've given $900 billion to Ukraine, which they're not going to win the war. It's just to hide Biden's family corruption. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm not sure because I have no evidence. But can you think about taking your old neighborhood, even New Orleans, Atlanta, take that block and you're going to buy it cheap. You know, if I had money, I would knock that shit out. Put a whole block down there, put hair salons, even the Blockbusters, remember them? Anyway, and a grocery store, medical, come on, put some black people and Indian people in that neighborhood, but knock it out because it's cheap. So all that money can develop into our country. All right, that's my opinion. My name is Ted Sheldon. Okay, so let's go back to the news. Okay, I'm not hurting Biden at all. I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. Okay, here we go.
Incumbency. Biden should not run, and Harris would be worse for the country. So who's next in line? Best chances of being elected this fall. Trump is a 5 to 6 shot. It's better than even. Biden 15 to 8, a little better than 2 to 1. Next in line, Michelle Obama 11 to 1, ahead of Nikki Haley, Gavin Newsom, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Kamala Harris.
Who do you think it could be, if not Joe Biden?
Joe Biden will not be the nominee. I said this last year. People dismissed it as some type of conspiracy theory. Today, I think it became that much more obvious. Play this out. Biden's own DOJ and special counsel is effectively releasing a report that undermines the case for him to actually be a candidate for the U.S. presidency, right as Biden's poll numbers are cratering. But I do think what they're planning for is to sideline Biden as the nominee, trot in a different puppet instead. That's the most significant takeaway from tonight. But I think the reality is this. The managerial class in the Democratic Party, and I believe in the deep state, has decided that they have lost their use for Joe Biden as a puppet. I think they laid a trap for him. They invited him effectively to prove to the American people that he doesn't have the mental acuity to do it. He fell into their trap, and now they're laying the groundwork for the coming 3 months to sideline him and actually put up who the real nominee is going to be. So I said this at the end of one of the Republican presidential debates, and I'll say it again. Just be honest with the American people. Tell us who the actual nominee is going to be so that we don't play these games and we can actually have an honest, open debate about who should be the next president of the United States. Because we know that Joe Biden is not going to be one of those candidates, and I think tonight made that much more clear.
Now look at this headline. I'll read it for you. 3 scenarios to replace Joe Biden on the ballot. Any chance of them happening? That's a good question, isn't it? Joe Concha wrote it and is with me now. All right, Joe, what are these 3 scenarios? And do you think any of them are likely to actually take place?
Well, Stu, I'll run them down and I'll give you my final answer on the second question. Scenario number 1 is the most common scenario among the political class, chattering class. At the Democratic National Convention in July, Joe Biden suddenly announces that he can't go forward with his re-election campaign. The reason is almost irrelevant. Needless to say, delegates on the convention floor magically are all in sync in nominating former First Lady Michelle Obama to be the nominee. Of course, this is the party that continues to insist to this day that they can only save democracy from Donald Trump, but they will have no problem in taking away the voters' rights in terms of deciding who the primary nominee is out of that particular process. And the media, of course, because a Michelle Obama candidacy is far, far more interesting than covering old Joe Biden, they will embrace this because the love affair with the Obamas never truly ended.
Everybody is talking about Joe Biden's too old to run. It's that conversation right there. Joe Biden's too old, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then the question turns to, well, who could do the job better than him? Everybody looks around at each other. And then the next question is, who could beat Trump? Everybody looks at their, shoes, and nobody. It's true. And that's the thing. It's so interesting. David Ignatius wrote that column yesterday, and so everybody, everybody's like, oh, this is horrible, it's horrible. It's what they were saying, but it's almost like that article, I personally think, did Joe Biden a favor. And I think that because it finally got it out there. Okay, this is what everybody's talking about. Okay, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Who you got? Who do you have to replace him? And there was a deafening silence yesterday.
Should he run again? I think that I think it's we'll take a look at it. Okay. But right now we need to focus on winning a majority instead of a presidential election.
I'm looking squarely towards 2022 and the re-election ahead of me.
Do you want to see Joe Biden?
I don't want to answer that question because we have not, I don't want to answer that question.
Do you believe President Biden should run for a second term?
I have said if he runs, I'll support him.
Okay, America, that's the problem. The media is turning on him. Can you see that? That guy was always beating up Donald Trump. Oh, I loved him. And I love the girl because she don't say shit. But you know what? Now you're seeing it. They're turning. They're trying to get ratings. Now look at their ratings were in the dumps. But now, okay, this is Ted Sheldon now. I'm not joking because this is funny. That dude, if you ever looked at him, oh man, he was crazy. He'd bash Donald Trump all he can. Anyway, here we go. One more time, sorry.
No, Stuart, because Michelle Obama Emmy Awards for Netflix, living on her opulent estate on Martha's Vineyard, and